Max Payne is a third-person shooter developed by Remedy, the company which initially created the racer Death Rally and then went on to make this series as well as the more recent Alan Wake. It takes on board the setting of a gritty New York swallowed by a deadly designer drug Valkyr and a never-ending blizzard. Amidst the chaos, DEA agent Max Payne takes a stand against organized crime after his wife and daughter are murdered. Prepare for an insane action title which isn't afraid to plunge you into the depths of the terrible underworld. This is Max Payne, and it will send you a bit closer to heaven. As I said before, it's set in New York during a particularly bad crime wave influenced by the drug Valkyr. It turns people loopy and they start seeing flying Valkyrie, mythological creatures that collect the spirits of the dead during battles. Max becomes a victim of the drug when his house is raided by junkies who wipe out his family. With nothing to lose, he goes undercover in the DEA until there is a break in the case. And things turn from bad to worse, of course. Max is framed for the murder of his best friend Alex, and mobsters appear to be coming out of the walls. And it's just brilliant. Remedy has perfectly portrayed the sinister side of the city by various factors including foreboding environments, gangster colloquialisms, and drug deals to name a few. The story is more or less about finding out who is really responsible for unleashing these wackos overdosed on Valkyr on his family. Max fights his way through a cesspit of thugs, mercenaries, and crooked cops to find answers. It's quite simple and very powerful as a story, with at least 1,000 metaphors which Max expresses during graphic novel segments. As you progress, this novel, as well as a few other factors, fill in the plot. It seems to achieve a balance between this and numerous hardcore shootouts. Also, I should mention that there are a few references to television shows, books, and movies.
Can you believe it? I bet they sleep with their rifles. I bet they've given them names.
I guess. So, you don't have a name for your gun?
Hello? Hell no. You do?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Hey, let's hear it.
Well, I call it Dick Justice.
I rest my case.
The gameplay of Max Payne heavily focuses on the use of bullet time. What this does is slows the world down around you, showing bullet trails and allowing for easier combat. Entering bullet time or performing a cool shoot dodge reduces the hourglass meter. The only way to regain it is by killing enemies, so you have to use this feature wisely. Quite often when you're outnumbered, it's a very useful trick and clearly pays homage to the Hong Kong action films from which it's derived, and a lot of people who saw it about a year earlier would also link it to the Matrix as well. Yep, the gameplay is pretty decent, but it doesn't really change that much. Sure, you acquire better weapons, but the methods to dispatch enemies stay the same. There is no stealth or vehicle segments or anything like that. It's all run and shoot, and you know, don't get me wrong, I love that ethos. It's the reason I love Bulletstorm, but some people might get bored. I think that I should mention that there are also 2 nightmare levels, but you'll want to forget them fast. You'll see. It's a very challenging game because there's a scaling system in place. I think it works in the manner that if you kill enemies, you increase your difficulty, and if you restart the level, you decrease your difficulty. There are no autosaves, so what you have to do is quick save and then quick load, and people will do this to avoid certain death. And that's probably one of the worst points about the game, is that it's a game of memory sometimes, and you're capped at the maximum difficulty level, even though you're playing on the easiest difficulty level, if you get what I mean. Fortunately, Max can recover his health by munching on some painkillers, which heal over time. graphics of Max Payne were more impressive at the time. Third-person shooters other than Tomb Raider were a rarity, and it certainly looked better than a blocky Lara Croft, although Sam Lake's facial expression for Max left something to be desired. Still, the bullet trails are actually fully detailed, and the environments really excel in providing the dark gothic theme the game was shooting for. I actually thought that for all the snow in the game, they'd cheap out and go for the Silent Hill fog effect, but no, there's actually a huge draw distance despite the fact many of the levels are more corridor-based. I think that Max Payne is one of the few games from the era where you'll have no problem with how it looks for today. Finally, we come to sound, and the voice acting is very well done. Max has the perfect voice actor. He sounds downtrodden and aggravated at the same time, often expressing his frustration by making dark humor jokes. The rest of the crew follows suit, maintaining this funny theme. I especially like Rico Morte's conversation.
Two mad dog killers, ready to murder each other. They step into the next room, and I'm thinking, now they're gonna do it. But no, they sit down in front of a TV and solve their differences with a kung fu fighting video game. I tell you, kid, I was so depressed, I strangled them both with the video game cadence.
Oh, Rico, you're so bad.
I am, ain't I?
But Vinny Gognitti takes the cake for being an edgy pipsqueak.
Where's Lupino?
Screw you!
Bad start, Vinny.
Ah! Police brutality!
I rate pretty high on that.
You can't just hurt me in cold blood!
Just keep telling yourself that. Listen good, Candyman. I'm not gonna be anybody's fall guy. I wanna know where your boss is hiding.
Music doesn't really exist. It's replaced by very, very creepy ambient noises, although they sometimes work it in with some orchestral music. If you've ever played the PlayStation 2 game Black, it's very much like that. Otherwise, it sticks to the primary theme, which is a perfect piano piece. Max Payne sends you a bit closer to heaven in the way that it presents such a fantastic tale about a man with nothing to lose out for vengeance. It's accompanied by really intense firefights which can be slowed down to show you the cool parts. This game is a seriously enjoyable experience you should play at least once, especially if you saw the horrible film version so you can wash it from your mind. Although it can get kind of repetitive, you should find yourself continuing it for those amazing graphic novel segments, even if you have to press F5 and F9 a million times. If you like it, Max Payne 2 is equally as good, so play that too.
There was something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a computer game, Max.
The truth was a burning green crack through my brain, weapon statistics hanging in the air glimpsed out of the corner of my eye, endless repetition of the act of shooting, time slowing down to show off my moves, the paranoid feel of someone controlling my every step. I was in a computer game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrible thing I could think of.